We believe that God wanted to identify those who he had saved by the name of his Son. We assume you belong to a denomination, right?
You mean, where do I fellowship with other believers? It's not a building or an organization. It's the only true church set forth in the Bible. It is the church of which Jesus Christ is the head, and all born-again believers belong to it. You should understand that it's the believers who make up the body of Christ, which is the church. Paul wrote in Ephesians 1, 22 through 23, "And hath put all things under his feet, and gave him to be head over all things to the church, which is his body, the fullness of him that filleth all in all." And Colossians 1:18 says, "And he is the head of the body, the church."
But how can all those various denominations who claim to believe in God be right?
Good question. First, Christianity is about 2,000 years old, and in that time numerous denominations have developed. On the other hand, Mormonism is less than 190 years old. The total number of documented groups formed from its beginning in 1830 to the present is well over 400. And as of today, there are approximately 80 different groups pointing to Joseph Smith as their founder.
Dang, that's a lot.
It appears Mormonism is divided worse than Christianity in that regard.
Okay, but still, there's thousands of Christian denominations.
Yes, but let me put it another way. Christianity is like a wagon wheel, with Christ being the hub. The individual spokes coming out of it, revolving around the hub in unity, are the various Christian denominations. In contrast, the many offshoots of Mormonism continue to revolve around Joseph Smith, but they refuse to recognize each other as being part of that wheel.
I found here in the Book of Mormon, in Alma 46:15, that believers were called Christians.
Do you know the meaning of the term anachronism?
I think it means when something is out of its proper historical time or context, right?
Yeah, I knew that.
Exactly. That account in Alma you referenced, calling true believers Christians, was supposedly written in 73 BC. But the term Christian was first used to refer to believers in Christ in the book of Acts, chapter 11, long after Christ's ascension into heaven.
So you're saying that the Book of Mormon reference to the term Christian is an anachronism?
Exactly. Let me share another example of that. The word church, found earlier in the Book of Mormon, 1 Nephi 13:4, was supposedly set around 600 BC. Yet the word church was never used until the time of Christ, recorded in Matthew 16:18. The word church in the Book of Mormon was taken from a Greek term, which the Nephites in 600 BC would never have used.
Interesting. We didn't know that.
So going back to your opening statement, if Jesus is really the head of the LDS Church, then what possible reason could there be for all the name changes? Why would Jesus instruct Joseph Smith in 1830 to call it the Church of Christ, then change it in 1834 to the Church of Latter-day Saints, and then change once again in 1838? Why wouldn't Jesus get it right the first time? Why would he take the name of Christ completely out of the name of the church for 4 whole years?
That's a good question.
One possible reason is that the church is instead run entirely by men without any real instruction or revelation from God. If it took them 8 years to settle on a name, then how inspired are these so-called prophets?